Okay. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another Impact Tuesdays webinar. So it is 12:55 and we will be starting promptly at 1 o'clock. So I am just going to go ahead and give everyone time to get settled and get a cup of coffee or get some lunch. And we will be back right at 1 o'clock to get started. Okay, so we are exactly at 1 o'clock. So welcome everyone to another Impact Tuesdays webinar. Today we are featuring DePorres Place Adult Literacy Center. I am Jennifer Kryshka, CEO of the Jewish Women's Foundation of the Greater Palm Beaches, an organization dedicated to advancing the status of women and girls locally, nationally, and in Israel. So we are joined today by Judy Ireland, who is the Executive Director, and Jennifer Rojas, who is one of the Next Step program interns, which is the project that JWF specifically is funding. Thank you, ladies, for being here with us today. So for anyone who is watching, if you are interested in submitting a question, which we love, please use the Q&A feature located at the bottom of your screen or maybe the top right if you're on a tablet. And we will be happy to get to those questions during today's webinar. All right, so Judy, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. So tell us about DePorres Place, what it is, what it does, and then we'd love to hear a little bit more about your background in particular and how you came to DePorres Place.
Sure. DePorres Place is 23 years old this year. So we've been in the community for a very long time, working with students on literacy and also learning to speak English. The center actually began as a center for teaching people who already knew how to speak English and went through our school system, but they didn't learn to read. And so that was the target population in the very beginning. But very quickly, it was 1997 when it started, and probably by the year 1999, they had added the English for Speakers of Other Languages program because so many people were coming to Florida from other countries speaking Creole or Spanish or Portuguese, and there was a real need in the community for language instruction that didn't cost, $400 a month. And so they started the center as a free place for people to come and learn English, and it has remained free for the entire 23 years of its existence. We have 90% of our students are learning English as a second or third language. And about 10% of our students are for a better lack of a better phrase, they're the children who were left behind by the school system because the school system could not provide whatever it was they needed in order to learn to read. And by third grade, if you haven't learned to read, you're probably going to have difficulty learning any other subject because reading is essential from third grade on to learn history, social studies, etc. So we work only with adults 18 and over, and they come to DePorres Place and they register. We give them an assessment test, and that's true for both types of students, those learning English as a second language and those who are learning to read. And then we either pair them with a tutor one-on-one, or that we put them in a small group class. Our classes we try to keep at 5 or fewer. Once in a while, a class will blossom up to 6 people because somebody wants their friend to come and the teacher says, oh, sure, bring them on in. But we try to keep them very small so each student has time to speak. We have a center with 10 classrooms. We have a library, we have a computer lab, and those are open for students to use. Right now, we're a little bit partially closed off because we're trying to keep everything separated and safe. And
sure.
Most of our students right now are online, but we're doing a good job of starting to reopen. I came to DePorres after a director who'd been here about 17 years. And so I had a good basis on which to build from all the good work she had done here before. And I came 5 years ago. My background was in nonprofit early on in my life. I spent 17 years at the American Cancer Society. I started out in patient services, and then I moved into management after that. And then I moved to Florida and made a career switch completely and worked for General Electric for 12 years as a product manager. And having the business background as well as the nonprofit background gave me a really unique skill set, I think, to bring to my work here at DePorres. And so I also teach at Palm Beach State College, and I'm in my 10th year of teaching there. And that again helps me because our students at DePorres are learning language at a very beginning level and maybe up
Mhm.
to immediate, intermediate level. And then the college age students I teach are, many of them are second language students, but they're at the advanced level. So I
Okay.
get to see the entire spectrum of language acquisition. And it's very interesting. And I think I'm better able to help them because I know the pathway that
Mhm.
has to be followed to get there. And we have great students. I mean, our students are so dedicated and they come to class after work, before work. Um, it's just amazing the amount of effort that gets put into learning on the part of these adults who have very busy lives and lots of struggles, you know, to try to meet the challenges of a modern economy is difficult for anybody, and especially if you
Sure.
don't speak English.
So how many students would you say that you serve, I don't know, maybe on an annual basis?
Served between 300 and 400. The year before we served 412, and this year, this past year that we just ended in July 1, we had served 317. I think our number was down because of the COVID
Mhm.
crisis, and we had to shut down for a couple of weeks and retool all our processes and reopen again. So we're down a little bit, but it's been over 300 for the last at least 4 years that
Mhm.
I've been here. So
That's amazing. And the teachers that you have are they paid or are they volunteer?
all of our teachers who are teaching right now are volunteer. We did have a couple of paid teachers that we were sending into the schools. And
Mhm.
the reason we did the paid route there was because they had to go through extensive background checks and that kind of thing. But we're not doing the school program since the school shut down. And the teachers we have now are all volunteer. We have 89 tutors.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. And we usually lose some tutors in the summertime because they go away. But this year, because we were on Zoom, we retained almost all of our tutors. They continued to teach from wherever they were up north. And it's actually been a great learning for all of us that we don't have to be in the same room to be able to continue on.
Mhm. So you switched to mostly virtual right
Yeah.
now?
Yes, when the crisis became very dire in March, we closed for 2 weeks and the staff went to their home offices and began working on getting everybody set up on Zoom. We had a lot of educating to do with tutors, a lot of educating to do with students, and some of our students helped teach us because they knew things we didn't
Mhm.
know. And we tried to get everyone back on board as much as possible. There's still a group of people that were left behind in that because they're not able to use computers, they don't have internet at home.
Mhm.
Some of them, even the WhatsApp on their phone was too difficult for them to deal with. So it highlighted for us the digital divide that happens in our country and the
Sure.
economic inequalities that plague every aspect of our life. And so as we come back to classes in the center more and more and more, we're going to be concentrating more on those digital skills,
Mhm.
trying to develop digital literacy alongside reading ability.
Okay. And so in terms of like the student that you serve, so DePorres Place is not exclusively for women.
No, but I just looked up the numbers and 81% of our students are female in this past year. And that's a typical. 70% of our tutors are also female.
Mhm.
So we've always been an overwhelmingly women-centered center, even though we don't prohibit anybody from coming here. So I think part of that is that women are more concerned with trying to make sure that the entire family gets everything they need in order to fit into a society. Men may be more focused on their job, but women are concerned about the men in the family, the children in the family, and they're really focused on what do we all need in order to get by. And that's just a focus, I think, from our upbringing that we think very multifaceted when it comes to things like that. And so women see the need for communication early on. They want to be able to talk to their uh, children's teachers. They want to be able to talk to the pharmacist when they go pick up the medicine. Women have so traditionally been the caregivers in the family for
Mhm.
everyone. And so I think they see the need sooner. they also get sort of focused into lower paid jobs because they are women and they are doing what people call service jobs. Now they're being called essential jobs, but essential doesn't mean well paid. And so even if you come to this country with a degree, you end up cleaning houses or working in a restaurant because that's all you can qualify for. And, you know, I think in the general population, women outnumber men in colleges today, and women of color outnumber everybody else in colleges today. So we're seeing this trend that we have played out nationally everywhere. And I think it's something to celebrate that women are optimistic, they're working hard, they're trying to move forward, and they want life to be better. And that's a great thing.
Sure. So I want to bring Jennifer into the conversation as someone who, you know, has used services at DePorres Place. I'm really interested for everyone to learn more about you. So tell us a little bit more, I guess, about your background. I know you're not originally from the US, so I'm interested in kind of where you came from before that and what you were doing and how you found DePorres Place.
Okay, good afternoon. I am from Colombia. I came 7 years ago to America, and I listened the Boris Place for the Niles woman, a friend. She say me, oh, if you want to learn English, you go the Boris is free, is very good, and the classes in your time, right? So it's very interesting for me because in Colombia I am economist, and I was a teacher in Colombia. So when I came here, the people say me, "Oh no, only you clean, only you, nah, you know, your degree no serve, no is nothing here." So for me was the, the difficult,
Sure.
yes, for thing. But 1 year ago, I start classes in the Portis Place, and the teachers um, was amazing. The love, the excellence, and yes, I'm sorry. Uh, uh, is 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 very precious for me because for the poorest I keep the negative, and I say, oh yes, yes, I can, yes, I, wow, my dreams, oh really again my dreams. So now is very different for me. Yes, I have 7 years here, but I can say uh, that it's like 2 years, no seven, like
Right.
2 years. Yes.
Sure. So what kind of things were you learning in these classes?
My English was very poor, very a little more. I think that yes, I say English. I speak and I write now. In these classes, the new words, the correct forms for write, um, the for speak, yes, and the they understand the people is is the best for me. Um, I think that I progress
Mhm.
in my English. I can communicate better.
Mhm.
Not perfect, yes, but I try. And the the records, the supplies and the
Mhm.
computers, books, magazines, and the small because the small class
Mhm.
is good for learn.
Mhm.
Yes, I have the comfort to say I don't understand,
Mhm.
say again or something.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really great. Um,
Yeah.
so Judy, and maybe you want to jump in here a little bit too. So of course, like the literacy component is important in and of itself, right? But I imagine that the larger goal is for all of these students to be able to go on to something that's better paying. So I'd like to, talk a little bit more about like the economic impact that you see, with these kinds of programs and how um, being able to learn to read and write, and especially for people who English is not their first language, what kind of difference that can make in someone's life.
It's definitely a huge difference. And it's not just for the person who comes here and learns, it's also for everyone in their family. The children who have a parent who even attempts to speak English as a second language are going to be more comfortable with English themselves when they get in school. The parent can talk with the teachers better, and so they can watch over their child's education in greater depth. And I think generationally, it moves down the line, and the economic impact, if you grow up with, it's been proven, unfortunately, if you grow up with a higher income family, you're more likely to go to college, you're more likely to have books in your home, and you're more likely to succeed in the job market than you would be if you didn't. So having parents who um, are able to provide for their children is important, but also to be able for individuals to improve their lives is they came to the United States in order to make a better life. And sometimes people feel plunged into a sort of an underclass that's in our society where they're very underpaid, they have very little control over their day. We've had students call us and say, my boss just told me I have to work another shift and I can't do anything about it, so I can't come to class. Or they may not tell us they're not coming, but they'll call us later and say, my boss wouldn't let me get my phone to call. So they have little control over their lives. And when they're able to come to DePorres and learn English and learn to read, um, they gain more control over life, and they become healthier people. They're more able to participate in civic life. They're more able to have a better chance of becoming a citizen and
Mhm.
voting and participating in politics and maybe even running for office. Who knows, someday. It
Sure.
happens all over the US that there are women running for office everywhere who weren't necessarily born in the US.
Sure.
Um, so we're very happy to see the changes that happen to people. And when people disappear and we can't find them and we call them and they say, oh, I got a great job and I'm doing so well, we're happy to have them disappear for those reasons. And that's
Sure.
usually.
So of this 81% of your clients that are women, what percentage would you say are the heads of their household? So the person that's like the primary breadwinner.
I would say probably 40 to 50% are the primary breadwinner. And some of them may have a spouse in another country, but they came here by themselves.
Mhm.
And some of them may have come here without documentation. And so they they can't even legally work and earn at a level that they could otherwise. So we try to help them as best we can to support their family in a way that is more equal to everybody else in the country. It's very hard, and especially with those who are undocumented, we have,
Sure.
you know, it's difficult for them to work, even when they have the ability or the skill. It's difficult for them. But most of our students are documented, and they have the ability to become citizens and make their life just better and more full. And as Jennifer said earlier, meet their dreams. They feel like they can accomplish what they've always dreamed, owning a house. We've seen quite a few of our students own houses, buy houses. We've seen them get driver's licenses, move to another place for a better job. I had a student for 4 years that was from Haiti, and I taught her, just because I like to keep my hand in for teaching. I teach one
Sure.
student, and I taught her for 4 years. When she came here, she couldn't speak one word of English. And when she left here in 4 years, she was just speaking everywhere, calling me up, talking to me on the phone. It was amazing. And she found a much better job as a CNA in Boston. And so she moved her family, and she was the head of a household with 4 kids. She moved to Boston, and she would have never done that if she hadn't learned English, because she said to me, I couldn't have taken a chance on a new community if
Sure.
I wasn't able to communicate. So
That's amazing.
yeah, really fun. And we have lots of success stories, people who you know, reach major milestones while they're working with us, and it's really fun to see that. Becoming citizen, we had a student named Glad Sylvie from Venezuela. She became a citizen right before we went out for it was probably the last citizenship ceremony they had prior to the COVID shutdown. So it was great to see her become a citizen and wave her flag.
So I want to talk about the Next Step internship program, what it is, how the program came about. As I mentioned earlier, this is, you know, the program that JWF is currently funding. So tell us about that, and then Jennifer, I'm going to want to move to you and talk to you about your experience in that program.
The associate director here, Linda Kramer, and I were seeing many students who they had gained an ability to read and write English. They could speak English, and their English was really improving, and they were really ready for the next step in life. And they were hoping to get a job other than cleaning houses, but they would apply for jobs and they didn't have the ability to do a resume that looked nice. They didn't have anything to put on the resume other than cleaning houses. And so people weren't willing to take a chance on them. Even though they were ready for the next step, they weren't getting anywhere. And we saw this happen over and over. And so, and kind of coincidentally, it was always women that this was happening to. Something about the job market, this was occurring with women. So we got together and we decided we need to have a way to give them some experience, to pay them so they can quit their job at cleaning houses or stocking shelves at Walmart, so they can be here for a limited amount of time and get some experience to put on their resume, get some help, some mentoring for putting up a LinkedIn account and how to interview for a job and all those kinds of things. So we kind of put together the bare bones of what became the Next Step internship program. And we came to the Jewish Women's Foundation with our idea, and you all not only took a chance on us with a new idea, but you supported us fully in doing this for 2 sets of double turns of interns. And we developed the Next Step internship materials, a kind of a pre-test, so that when they come in and start, they sign a contract and they take an assessment test, and we look at their computer skills, their English skills, everything. And then they go through their internship, doing certain activities with us. They have a supervisor. Our supervisor this time is Neftali Jean Baptiste, and she's one of our program coordinators. So she works directly with Jennifer and Angela, who's the other intern. And then they document their progress and document their skills, and then we try to help them with their resume and help them with networking. Jennifer's actually been a wonderful networker when it comes to getting together with people who may be future employers and working with them in a volunteer setting. And so she gets to know who's around in the education world now, and it's a very smart move, and we've really enjoyed seeing her work that aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
So our
So
first
the internship program, so the interns are interning with DePorres Place, just to, okay.
Yes,
Right.
thank you. Good point. They come to DePorres Place and they work in the office, and they work with our staff, and they work with our students, and they become leaders, really, which is, they've emerged as leaders already, but they become even more leaders. Sorry about that. And then we have a pathway for them to follow for the time that they're with us. And as long as they successfully complete their first 12 weeks, then they can go on to another 12 weeks. And so by the time they're done, they're ready for another job. They're ready. They know how to work in an office. They start answering phones. And I remember our first intern, Renee, she was scared to pick up the phone because her English had improved a lot, but she knew she was going to encounter people on the phone that she wouldn't be able to understand. And so we coached her, and pretty soon she's picking up the phone, talking to people like crazy. And it was really fun to see the comfort level rise. And it's been different for Jennifer and Angela because we had the COVID crisis in the middle, and we had to suspend everything for 2 weeks. But we decided to go ahead and kind of mark out a pathway that they could do virtually, working with us on Zoom and working by themselves with Allison courses and that kind of thing. And they've done a great job. I think, Jennifer, you have a resume that's ready to go. I know Angela does as well. And it's been wonderful to have them to rely on.
So how do you find your interns?
We're very much like a big happy family here at DePorres, and we've always gotten acquainted with all of our students. One of our big parts of our mission is to make everyone feel welcome and to make everyone feel like they're part of DePorres. It's not us running it and them coming to get help. It's all of us being in the same place, learning together. And we have a kitchen where people come and eat, and we don't have it going right now because of everything happening.
Sure.
But we try to help the whole person and not just teach them one thing. And so I think that through that, we get to know our students, and we get to know who's progressing and who's doing a great job. Our tutors also will suggest people.
Okay.
In fact, Jennifer was suggested by a tutor that said, she's really ready to go, and she needs to polish up her job skills and get out there. So we were happy to accept her into the program, and she immediately started working on redoing some forms we had and making things better. And so we knew we made the right choice with her.
Yeah. So Jennifer, tell us about your experience in the internship program. What has it been like for you, and what are some of the things that you really enjoyed the most in the internship?
Yeah, the first word that I say to Joyce Women Foundation is thank you. A big thank you, yes. I don't think that the magnitude that this internship. When Judy sent me an interview about the internship, I was scared because it's in English, answer the phone, support the office. Oh, really? Me is it's a challenger. Was a challenger for me. But I learned a lot things. I was 2 weeks or 3 weeks in the office before the COVID, and the answer phone and I'm sorry, what? So yes, it's a experience, a good experience. Now I answer my phone and okay, same again, or is more comfortable for me.
Mhm.
Yes, and uh, um, after the no, in the COVID, in the time the COVID, I learned Allison courses about the business
Mhm.
and English for my career.
Okay.
Yes, very interesting for me. I learned about the resume, the cover letter, the new business, the networks. Is the how I will to do
Mhm.
my job and on my networks.
Mhm.
So it's very interesting, and I of course the course is in English.
Mhm.
So I write in my notebook. I share. Yes, the words. This is words. So I listen better. I understand better. Um, and I I can say that my result the exam to certification
Mhm.
is approved. I pass. Thank you uh, for this for this time. Yes, yes. The was the better time for learn crecer. No sé cómo digo. For up in my English, and the economy support for me in this pandemic.
Mhm.
Wow, wow. So I suppose to no be job, no work,
Right.
and in this time I very quiet. Thanks. The internship, this the Choice Women's Foundation. So the last months for me, wow, was amazing, and I am very grateful with with Judy and with yours. Yeah,
Oh, of course.
yes,
Yes. I think that, all of our trustees and our grants committee members are um, more than happy that we're able to support this wonderful program. So you said that you took a test to get your teaching certification, is that
yes,
right, for Palm Beach County?
yes. The Spanish K-12, the Spanish K-12.
That's
Yes,
that's very exciting. So congratulations.
thank you.
So now you're going to
I'm
start
shocked.
applying for jobs.
Uh-huh. Yes, the internship gave me the opportunity to be volunteer with the normal school,
Mhm.
and I the network with the principal. Yes,
Okay.
I spoke about my interest for teach, and was a very door open for this opportunity.
That's very
Yeah.
exciting. We look forward to hearing an update.
Yes.
Um, so I'd like to just to ask some questions more about you personally. So are you married? Do you have children? Um,
Yes, I'm married 2 years and 7 months ago.
okay.
Yes, my husband is Puerto Rican. Yes, and uh, uh, no, I don't. We don't have children, but we have a little doggy. Yes, Donna, and we one children. So I don't know one.
Sure,
Yes.
sure. So what, I guess, inspired you to want to move to the United States from Colombia?
Sorry. Okay, please.
Why did you decide to move here?
Yes. Um, I think that I want 7 years ago try to better life, to better yes, in my country. Uh, I have the job. I have my career, my bachelor,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but it's no good pay.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think here I um, I have the better
Mm-hmm.
life. Um, is more security,
Mm-hmm.
security, and maybe here I have the uh, my house and the quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So
Did
yeah,
you have any other family that live here?
here only
In the United States, I guess.
uh, only the family, my husband family,
Okay. So
my
you moved here
colleagues.
by yourself.
Uh-huh. Yes.
That was very brave.
Yes. Yes, it is.
It must have been hard.
Uh-huh. It's very hard. Very hard. The years ago, the the new language,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the laws, right? The um, the 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 people, the roles. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yes, is okay. I'm here. I adapt
Mm-hmm.
to here. No, no. I'm Colombian, so in Colombia here, no. And yeah, so
Sure.
yeah, so
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, you've really
yes.
done a lot then.
Uh-huh.
So do you feel like it was a good decision, even though it was hard?
Uh, 3 years ago, I think that no good decision. Uh, uh, because I don't know the first place, and I don't know the opportunities. I only think okay, you here only in the restaurants uh, only clean, only
Right.
yes, survivor,
Okay.
survivor,
Right.
yes.
Fiber, sure.
and and I think no, it is very difficult, and my dreams and my time, uh, study time, yeah. So it's but the 3 years ago, I know my husband, I know the opportunities, the school. So wow, I am I'm grateful because it's a new life,
Mm-hmm.
it's a new change for up and up, and
Sure.
for self, and for give this country my I don't know, my service, my smile, my with the children, with yes,
Sure.
it's
That's amazing.
yeah.
So Judy, you must feel very, proud
Yes.
to
Oh, we're
see,
super proud.
how
Yeah.
the work that you do is obviously very meaningful. Um, and it's really having an impact, right? That you can see. So I'm sure there are lots of stories like Jennifer's, right?
There are, and we kind of try to collect them and let our supporters know about them as much as possible. And it's we're really not very visible in the community. Most people don't know we're here, but when they find out, they're like, this is the best kept secret ever. This is a wonderful place. And so we try to, you know, get the word out, but
Mhm.
we have new students coming. We've been adding new students at 2 or 3 a week ever since we were out on Zoom, and it didn't stop people from coming to us and calling us and needing help. And there's a new focus on citizenship from many of the people calling us.
Mhm.
So we've actually about tripled our number of citizenship classes that we're having. And I think some of it is the political uncertainty in the country and people feeling that they don't know what their opportunities will be in the future.
Sure.
So we're getting more and more experience with it, and we're able to help them, you know, better and better of how to get through the interview, how to learn the history questions, and
Mhm.
how to become an expert in U.S. civics beyond what most U.S. citizens by
Sure.
birth are.
Right, right.
If I try to answer the 100 questions, I have to go look some of them up. So I really admire the students who work so hard to learn the answers to those and become citizens. And we're so very proud of everybody. It's just amazing. And when we ask for help at DePorres and we say we're doing a Christmas party or we're doing a this or that, the students just pull up and just help us and try to celebrate everything with us. And so we feel very proud and happy with the results of what we see. Once in a while, we have some students who are they want to learn English really strongly, and they
Mhm.
really try hard, but they don't make much progress. And we call
Mm.
those transition students as a way of trying to be respectful to them in terms of, you know, how hard of a transition it is for them. And
Mhm.
sometimes these are people who are 50 and over, sometimes, but they're younger people. And for some reason, their learning is just, sometimes they don't know how to read and write their original language, which makes
Okay.
it much harder to learn English.
Sure.
And so we have special classes for our transition students. And Jennifer's actually been teaching one of those classes for us as a volunteer off her paid time. She's been volunteering and teaching um, those students for us
Mhm.
because they're so very basic and they need lots of repetition at the most basic level. And so it's been, we're always proud when one of our students becomes one of our teachers. And we've had a
Sure.
number of students do that
Mhm.
during our time here.
So all of the teachers that you have, I assume, are at least bilingual.
No, most of them are not actually. And
Oh.
one of the reasons that we almost prefer people who are not bilingual is because if a teacher is bilingual, the students will kind of use that as a crutch and
Mhm.
ask for directions in their own language or whatever. And many of our classes are mixed with students who speak more than one language in the same
Mhm.
class.
Okay.
So a teacher speaking in one language or another leaves out part of the students. And so for those two reasons, if we do have teachers who speak another language, we ask them to limit how much they speak that in class. And with the transition students, you almost have to have somebody bilingual like Jennifer. But for the more advanced students, we
Mhm.
definitely ask them not to speak anything other than English. And when students come into the building, we try to speak English to them all the time and take the
Mhm.
time to wait and listen to them and give them a chance to try to speak.
Right.
Um, there's a difference between teaching English and translation and teaching English. So we kind of do the English immersion.
Mhm. Sure.
Translate only when we have to. Um,
Mhm.
and if it's me translating to Spanish, it hurts their ears, so they move back to English. So that happens to me on the phone where they'll say, does anybody speak Spanish? And I'll say, I speak a little bit, and I'll say it in Spanish, and then they'll switch back to English quickly.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So you have your um, the literacy classes, of course, and then the citizenship classes, which is really wonderful. So I'm wondering, I guess if you could, have support for any kind of additional classes, or there was some other way that you envision DePorres expanding into something else, what would those things look like?
I think, we have had some out of center courses. We've tried to move beyond our walls and try to serve more people in more different communities. And we've been very successful with it, but it's hard to get people to teach in certain areas at certain times. You almost need a paid person to go in there and take the risk that's involved in going into those communities in those times of day. So I guess when we had our school people that were paid, we felt like we could demand, more than we could from a volunteer in terms of that. And the school program was great, but it was in the middle of a neighborhood where no one spoke English. And no one was allowed to go to the classes except people who had children in that school.
Okay.
There were dozens of people around this area who wanted to come to the class but couldn't because of the security of the school, which we, of course, felt was reasonable, that they had to be careful who they let in. So I think if we expanded, once we can meet in person again,
Right.
we would try to find community locations in those neighborhoods where it's heavily non-English speakers, and we'd try to provide the free service for them in their own neighborhood. Many of them don't have cars, and we're in West Palm up near Good Samaritan Hospital, and we offer free bus passes. But for some people, it's 2 hours to get here and 2 hours home. And on top of a work day, that's just an impossibility for them. So there are a couple of different places we could have them. Lake Worth, Boynton Beach. Delray Beach now does have an English program, but they are not doing English immersion. They're doing English translation. And the people have to go 4 days a week, which is a really difficult thing for many people. So there's still room. We have one class in Delray, but it's in West Delray. So we'd really like to have one in East Delray.
Okay.
There's a lot of
Okay.
and having more opportunities for our students to do different things also is, like the internship program is like that, and having opportunities for them to kind of transition from learning English to what do they do next.
Maybe outside DePorres place, like if there are maybe other businesses or organizations that would be willing to partner with you on that.
I think it would be good for our interns to get a beginning here and then to move to another organization or business where they could get another view of what an operation can be like, because every organization operates differently.
Sure.
And it would be nice to have that breadth of experience,
Sure. And are you still in need of teachers?
We always need teachers, and we're happy to work with people. Right now we're telling them pretty much it's on Zoom, but we do have a couple of students who can't be on Zoom that want to come back, and so we are looking for one-on-one tutors with those students.
Okay.
And those are usually special situations where, for example, we have a student with multiple disabilities, and it takes someone with a lot of patience to sit with her and work on math and English. She speaks English, but she doesn't read well.
Okay.
So we're always looking for people for small group classes and for one-on-one tutoring. And we've added a couple of tutors just last week that are on Zoom, and they're doing a great job with their students, and they're loving it. They tell us that it's a very fulfilling thing to do. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if someone is interested in becoming a teacher or a tutor, or maybe they know of opportunities where the interns could get some additional experience, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
They can either email me at judyireland@deporresplace.org, or they can call our center. We're here 5 days a week, and it's 561-863-5778. And they can ask for me or Linda Kramer. Either one of us can help them, and we would be delighted to have any kind of help that people offer.
Okay, and we'll be sure to send that information out to our trustees in case they are interested in volunteering with you. So, and then as well as, maybe we can find a way to help connect you to some other organizations or businesses um, who might be able to, to take on some interns. So,
We were able to, for the internship program, we did have a student who had been a student here for 4 years, and we were able to find her full-time employment with benefits. And so that really, I think, was the beginning of our starting to look for higher opportunities for our students beyond just learning English. And so we're open to any ideas.
Sure. And I'm happy to talk to you about that to see how we can be helpful to you. So something else I was wondering, you're interacting with your clients, with the students pretty frequently, so you get a chance to get to know them. And I'm just wondering, how often do the students have other issues beyond the things that they're coming to you for that you might have to make referrals for? Or, does that happen, like domestic violence, or I don't know, a variety of issues that may happen? Does that, is that something that you see with your students?
It does happen, and we have an actual partnership agreement with the YWCA. They have a domestic violence program, and their economic empowerment advocate works with us to identify women in their program who need English classes as a way of getting toward being able to be self-sufficient. And then if we have people, and it's happened to us where we've had a student in a class who told her tutor that she was being abused at home. And so he came to me, and we took her immediately to the YWCA and got her in touch with a advocate there. So that's been a nice back and forth relationship with them. We also have people who have legal issues.
Right.
We have people with all kinds of issues that they need help with. They can't fill out a job application well, and so they can do part of it, but they can't quite make it happen. So they'll come in here and we'll work with them. We recently did that with a student who's been coming here for, I think, 4 years, and she wanted to get another job. And so she got a new job at $22 an hour, which is amazing. And she's still keeping her old job until she makes sure the new one works out, which was her idea, not mine. So I was thrilled that that's happening. So yeah, we have a lot of the times we see people who have they're living at a survival level.
Right.
They're making just enough money to pay their rent, and they have very little else. So we collect clothing and food, and when students are normally in the center, we have those ready for them to just pick up and take with them. And we're happy to do that as a side thing, because we know our students worry about these things, and that worry takes away from their ability to learn what they need to learn. And during the COVID time, your foundation was very generous in helping us help some of our students who were in dire straits, didn't have money for food and could barely make it through the day. And we were able to give some grants that one of our students was 3 months behind on her utilities and was just constantly worried about what was going to happen. And she was able to catch up on that and was thrilled. So we do try to be here for the whole person, and we do see other issues that come up, and we try to help as much as we can.
Sure. I imagine you must partner with a lot of other organizations in the community then, right?
Yes, there's an organization called Holy Ground Palm Beach County. They work with pregnant and parenting teens, and we have also traded clients with them, and they've brought people here to get help with their reading. And one young lady that studied here, her reading, she's now in the dental hygienist program at Palm Beach State College, and she was on the dean's list the last 2 semesters. So we're like thrilled that there's the Homeless Resource Center in West Palm Beach, and we work with them as well. And we work with other organizations that are also doing education. El Sol in Jupiter. If a student is closer to El Sol, we'll suggest that they go there for classes rather than travel clear down here. And there's a program called, I think it's Women's Center in Boynton Beach, and they work mostly with people from Haiti, and we
Mhm.
also partner with them and refer people back and forth. So I don't think we could do this alone. It takes a
Sure.
network really to serve a community. So
Sure, sure. We certainly see that with our other grantees as well. You know, that they're often partnering with one another, whether it's the Lord's Place or Trust for Success. I mean, we see a lot of overlap because, and I'm sure you understand that it's like, usually it's not one thing you're trying to deal with. Oftentimes, especially for women, I think it's trying to deal with so many things at one time. So you need a lot of support.
we have one student who's been with us since 2008, and she works at a Pollo Tropical, and she has for like 18 years. And she struggles with her reading, she struggles with math, and we just continue to work with her.
Mhm.
She's gone from having being able to read at all to having about a third grade reading level, which isn't enough to make her functional, but that's how far she's gotten. And I think
Yeah.
one of the things that her case brings up for me is that there's no other place for her.
Mm.
That if she didn't study here at DePorres, there's no place where she could go. The adult ed department, you have to be able to read at a 6th grade level so you can even begin their classes. And she's much too old for traditional schools, so there's just
Mhm.
nowhere else for her to go.
Yeah.
And we're happy to be the last stop on the train for people that there's nowhere else for them to go. They stop here and we welcome them, and we try our best to help them.
Yeah, well, I think that you're doing a wonderful job. And again, we're really happy to be able to support you. And Jennifer, we're excited for you and your new
Thank you.
teaching certification. And, you know, we hope that you find a job quickly and something that you like. So definitely keep in touch with us and keep us updated on what's happening there. So
Yes. Thank
we
you.
love to share the stories with our trustees and the community. So I want to thank you again, both of you, for participating in today's Impact Tuesdays webinar. I hope that everyone learned about the wonderful work that you're doing. And we'll be sure again to share the information with our trustees about volunteering and see if there's, you know, maybe we can connect you to some other organizations. So we're always happy to support you however we can. So
Thank you so much.
yes, of course. So I'm gonna go ahead and just wrap it up. It's almost 2 o'clock. So you can watch any of our Impact Tuesday webinars on our website, and some of them are also on Facebook. As always, I like to just remind everyone that JWF is 100% supported by individual donations. And so times are very challenging right now. We certainly would love to receive some additional support as well, which you can do through our site at jwfpalmbeach.org. You can also see the other organizations that we're currently funding on our website. And our next Impact Tuesdays webinar will be on October 20th, so 2 weeks. And we will be focusing on actually one of our Israeli grantees. So very exciting. I hope everyone stays well and is healthy and safe. And I will see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.